Okay, we're live. I've done it again, everybody. My goodness gracious.
The squirrels have lined up in the cages.
Hello, Donna-Lea. Nice to see you. Thank you very much.
Morning, everybody.
Morning.
Hey, Donna-Lea.
Morning.
Morning.
So,
I just want to start, this is for the people who are watching this on replay rather than just you people. Our focus today is customer service, and we're looking for people to share, because there's a lot of experience sitting here in front of me, right? To share an example of customer service they've provided, get the English right, Peter. An example of customer service that you've provided, and if there's an example of a way that you've surprised the customer or surprised a prospect, I'd love you to share that as well. And to start with, to get us in the right thing, I just want to use a quote from Maya Angelou. Anyone recognize the name?
Yeah.
Maya Angelou, okay?
Oh, yeah.
Very famous quote, and I thought it was appropriate seeing we're doing customer service or customer experience. Hi, Patrick, good to see you. And this is what she said. People will forget what you said. People will forget what you did. But people will never forget how you made them feel. And that, to me, is the essence of a customer experience. Okay? That's my little bit of philosophy for the day. So I'll stop right there. Let's start with you, Tom Petty. He's still in his pajamas, so he's hiding behind his picture. So, Tom, over to you.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Yeah, I had a couple of quick examples that I thought about, and one several years ago I did a free webinar on some topic. I'm sure it was marketing or web or something along those lines. I don't remember what it was. And one of the people that was on my call asked a question because she was having a technical problem with her WordPress website, and I couldn't answer it on the call or on the webinar, but I connected with her later. And long story, she had gone round and round with different people trying to fix her website, couldn't get the website to work. And I said, well, give me your login. Let me take a look. And so I went in and figured it out pretty quickly. And she was just blown away that I would do this, that I would do it for no cost. And, you know, she's, how much do I owe you? And I'm like, nothing, don't worry about it. And for me, it was easy to figure out. But she was really frustrated because nobody else could figure it out. And so I got a very, very nice testimonial from her on my Google reviews page. You know, she never became a customer or anything like that, but it was just, I like solving technical problems for people. And more recently, because I've switched gears more into the health realm, and talking with a friend, I'd reached out to a friend of mine on Facebook and chat, just, hey, how's it going, whatever. And she had breast cancer several years ago, and then she had a relapse last year and ended up having a mastectomy. And the medications that she's on were really killing her appetite, and she really isn't able to eat. She's Asian, so she's a little tiny gal, and she had lost weight, and she didn't have any weight to lose, and she's trying to figure out what she can eat that can kind of get some weight put back on her because she can't keep anything down. So I've helped her and made some suggestions, and it's like, cut this out and add this, and this is something that you can do. And, you know, whether she buys from me or not is, to me, irrelevant. It's just, I'm helping her to feel better and hopefully heal and kind of get back on track again. So it's just something that I like to do. And as Peter has said too, it's like, even if they don't ever buy from you, you still get a raving advocate that they will tell other people how you treated them, as he quoted Maya Angelou. And so that's my story.
Thank you, Tom. I mean, it is all about helping and serving. That's really the most powerful thing of all. And the amazing thing to me is that so many people tend to position customer service as something you do after you got a customer.
Yep.
And you really should be thinking about that when they first visit your website, for example. I mean, is your website navigatable, whatever the right word is, right? Or the first time they contact you. That's, to me, customer experiences are an ongoing thing, not just a one-off thing once you've got a customer. So anyway, thank you, Tom. Any questions for Tom?
Good morning, Anna.
Good morning, Anna. Sorry,
Good morning.
Good morning. All righty. John, you're next cab off the rank. John D. Allen, customer experience.
Good morning, everybody. Afternoon, good evening, whichever time of day you're in. I was thinking, like everybody else, about some services. One of the people that he was a client, and we were going through the program I have, which is helping him build his business. He came to me with a challenge, and he's in the HR business out of Windsor, Ontario, and helping executives in job placements. He works for a lot of the big companies out of Detroit. And he said to me, he said, basically out of the blue, we were on a call one day, he said, I just got a letter from one of my clients telling me that they want to drop my service. They're not happy with the way I've been doing things. He said, I think there's a misunderstanding. So what can I do? I suggested to him, I said, make an appointment, go to Detroit and see the guy in person. Explain to him that, you know, if there was a misunderstanding, you know, you apologize profusely and what have you. And I said, the other thing is, let the man know how you could correct it. He was a little hesitant about doing that. So anyways, he did make the appointment. He goes over there, the HR manager and the vice president of this company are there. And he was telling me after, he said, I'm just about crapping my drawers sitting in there because they're going to show me the door. So he said, I explained to him what I had done, you know, and where the challenge was. The vice president looked at me and he said, great job. We're going to renew your contract for $175,000 for the year. And there's a possible of another $50,000 in there for more work. So he was rather surprised, and so was I, that, you know, just by telling him to go over there and meet the guy and actually talk to him and see what the problem was. That to me was a really great experience. That's what I got for customer service.
Okay, and really the focus of that, John, is the power of a personal touch, right? Right.
If he had just accepted the guy's email and basically said, oh, okay, he would have lost out on everything. But just by going back to explain the situation and see what he could do to save the contract, you know, it got him the business.
Good, good. And in a way, he actually created his own memorable experience for that person.
He did.
Which he couldn't have done if he didn't do it face to face in this particular instance.
Right. You know, he would have just lost the contract and, you know, they'd have moved on and never used him again. So it worked out very well for him. And it also gave him a lot of confidence when he was dealing with his other clients, if there was any challenges, to go see him in person. You know, email is very impersonal. Right. So, and so is a letter. So, you know, go see the people in person if you can.
Good. Thank you. Thank you very much, John. Any questions for John on that example? All right, we'll just keep moving in the interest of time because I know some of you have got to go quickly. Neha, are you there? I can see your image, but not you, not your beautiful face. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Let me come on.
Before we go to you, I want to, and I haven't asked you permission to do this, so bear with me, Neha. I don't want to embarrass you. But for those of you who have seen the latest post that Neha has, okay, there is a sentence in there that I think encapsulates customer service incredibly well, okay? Just a minute, I'll just get this. And this is what she says. I hope you don't mind me saying this, Neha. She says, remember, this is a relationship coaching opportunity, okay? She says, don't hesitate to reach out. I am the container that will hold the emotions you can't handle until you can. I'll be by your side. I think that is absolutely perfect. Okay? Absolutely perfect. So congratulations, Neha. I didn't mean to embarrass you. All right.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Where you go. Over to you, Neha.
Okay. So this my particular example for customer service is I'm going to talk about my current client, but this is the moment she got in touch with me. I had been exchanging emails with her regularly, and I just kept it going, and whatever questions she had, I kept answering them. And she fixed an appointment, and then she canceled it, and then she made another appointment, because she happens to work in the healthcare industry, so she works when people have holidays as well. So I just kept it going, and then during a call, a call like not a sales conversation, but just a chemistry conversation call. She was moved by whatever it is that she saw me as a person, and whatever she signed up as a client. So we've been coaching for maybe 5 weeks now. But the last week, what happened was my hands were tied. I was really busy on one day, and she sent me lots and lots of like 2 straight emails, and I didn't have time to reply to her, sit down and write, although I do it most of the time. But that particular day, I couldn't. And she apparently was going through something, I could tell. So I left her, I recorded a voice message and I sent it to her on email, telling her that I'm busy, but this is what I have to tell her. This is what I have for her. And then when I have a chance, I can go back and email her the next day or something like that. So the day she spoke with me, she was very grateful for the message. She said, thank you so much for that. She listened to that voice message 4 times, she told me. So it's great. I'm glad that my voice message helped her, because she was going through some tough time, and she said that my voice message helped her calm down and just help her give some perspective on things, that whatever she was going through. And it's like I'm speaking to her in that moment, speaking to the spirit of her. So that's my little experience, that it's more recent.
Right. Neha, so really, it was the actual voice messaging rather than the email or texting that made the difference in terms of the relationship and the response from your customer.
Yes,
Yeah.
I do send her very long replies as well, explaining things to her. But then on that particular day, it seems that it was the most needed thing for her.
Well, there's a message there, isn't there? And it's a personal touch again, right?
Yes.
Well done, Neha. Any questions for Neha?
Good job.
Anna.
Thank you. Thank you, John. Thank you, Tom.
I think it's also not just that Neha, you took the time to do a voicemail. It's that you realize that something more was needed that day. It's about listening and paying attention as well, right? And adjusting based on what you hear, instead of, just being annoyed with I'm already busy, now I have this, oh no, right? Oh no, something is very important. So you shifted your priorities to take care of your client.
Yeah.
So I think it's a twofold issue here.
Yeah, good point, Anna. Good point.
Yeah. Thank you, Anna. Yes.
Somebody else had a question? Anybody? Okay. Well, look, in the interest of time, because I know you, Yvonne, you've got to go. Well, before that, Adeel, welcome. Nice to see you. Sorry, beg your pardon. Welcome to the tribe. Welcome to the community, and welcome to the call.
Hey, happy to be here. Glad to see you all.
We'll come back to you in a minute, and I'll let you do some introductions about yourself. All right. So bear with me. Okay, and let me go to you, Yvonne. Okay, because I know that you have to leave soon, and before I just throw it to you, I've got 3 apologies. People have messaged me. They wanted to be involved with this topic because it's so important to them. But Lisa Anapama, Gary Gleason, and Natalie, all 3 of them have got commitments, and I appreciate their circumstances in terms of time. So thank you very much for the thoughts there. Now, Yvonne, over to you.
Thank you, Peter. I apologize. My home phone is ringing. It just started ringing. Now we may have heard it said that we should, as business owners, we should under promise and over deliver. Now, I prefer to think of it this way, that we really want to serve people with excellence. That's what we want to do. We want to do what Peter Shankman said, and our Peter alluded to this earlier, that from the moment our customers come in contact with us, whether it's through our website, wherever it is, we want them to feel like they're rock stars, not just on one occasion, but for life. That was a quote from Peter Shankman, and he wrote, I've forgotten the name of his book now, but it's a book that I love on customer service. So I want to share two things that happened when I was in direct sales, because even while I was in corporate America, I had a direct sales business on the side. You know how we all love to have that side hustle. Mm-hmm. And I want to share this because a lot of persons who are maybe viewing this are in direct sales. The first thing is that simple 2 words, thank you. One of my clients that came to me, I was a skincare and image consultant. She found my business card at a beauty salon. When she called me, she wasn't my customer. She already had a consultant, but the consultant had gone on vacation and not filled her order. So she found my card, she called me. I explained to her that this was a one-time sale because she already had a consultant, and we don't steal our customers from our other consultants. She agreed on that. I simply sent her a very simple postcard, plain postcard, nothing fancy. She'd lived out of town. She lived in Baltimore, Maryland, and I lived in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I sent her a simple card just thanking her for her business, not knowing that her husband was a prominent businessman in the community in his area. He had a huge CPA firm. And he saw that card and he said, this is a woman who knows how to run a business. She called me and she said, I want you to be my consultant. I said, no, you have one already. She said, this is my money. I spend it with someone who appreciates me. This woman became my #1 customer for years, and she referred tons of people to me, all from one simple thank you postcard. The second thing I want to share for direct sellers, depending on the product you have, simply include a little gift. It doesn't have to be expensive. I used to go to the dollar store and I'd get these little teddy bears. They're for $1. Or when different stores had sales, I would purchase them. And when I packaged something to mail off to someone or to deliver, I would drop one of those in there. These are grown women. They didn't need a little baby teddy bear, but it meant something to them. It made them feel appreciated. It made them feel that I took this extra time to think about them and get them something. As a result of this, I finally stopped doing my skincare business when I wanted to focus exclusively on online business. And I was able, after 14 years, to pass on my very first hostess to someone else, another consultant, to take care of her. And I was able to pass on several people who I had 7 years, 8 years, 10 years in my business. It makes a difference how we make people feel. And as far as my business as it is now, I just want to share just one tip. When your clients, promote your clients on social media. You don't have to say, this is my client. Nobody has to know it's your client. But if you see something, if they're promoted, share what they have. Or maybe I do sometimes like now I've forgotten what I call it, but it's that I acknowledge them on a particular day, maybe on a Friday. I will say kudos to so-and-so, and I'll mention one point about them. Maybe like I'll have like an air conditioning company, and I'll just mention that like kudos to so-and-so. Her, if you're in such and such an area, you want to reach out to her because her customer service is amazing, which it is. And you know, little things like that, but acknowledge your clients on social media. If you read where they had a bereavement or someone for them is ill, send them a card or send them a plant or something. You can, if it's not in your area, you can get order places that will deliver it for you. So just do something extra because as Maya Angelou said, It's how you make people feel. And until you have built an emotional connection with your clients and customers, you do not have customer loyalty. They need to be emotionally connected with you and know that you love them and they love you back.
Thank
So
you.
that's my share today, Peter.
Thank you. I love the idea of customers being treated like rock stars. I love that. And yet acknowledging clients. I think that's a really powerful tip. Really good. If anyone here in this group or watching in the replay, or if you're on YouTube and watching this and you want some thoughts about creative ways to look after your customer, Yvonne, you don't mind me saying that, they can reach out to you and connect with you?
No, please do, Peter. I love sharing.
Okay, fine. There you go. Thank you very much, Yvonne. Really good. Adeel, I'm going to come to you next. Bear with me because two things. One, I know time is against you today. Secondly, it's your very first time with us. So I want to give you the opportunity to say, hello, who the hell are you? What do you do, right? What do you do? And then give me an example of some customer service you've done. How about that?
Sure. Thank you so much. My name is Adeel, and I'm joining you guys from Pakistan. And for the last 10 years, I've been working in the training and consulting industry in different capacities, but mostly it was business development and customer experience. So I've worked as a coach, consultant, and even with coaches and consultants. And along with that, for 3 years, I've worked for a group that has 2 brands in retail. One was furniture and the other was apparel. So I've worked on that too. And then very recently, I decided to start my own business. And because of COVID, when I get to interact online and globally with a number of coaches and consultants, so I see there are excellent coaches who are really expert at what they do, but they struggle to generate business or struggle to run their coaching practice as business. So that's where something I saw as an opportunity for me, because that's what I've been doing for 10 years. So that's how I started my company called Easzzili. And that's how I started. And now mostly my clients are from the United States right now, but I'm serving clients globally. And coming back to your question about customer service, well, I always see it as customer experience, and especially with my experience working for that brand, when they were launching their apparel brand, that's where I got to work very extensively on building the whole system around that. So not only we were able to involve the senior leadership or senior management team in determining what values, what sort of customer experience we want to provide, but when we were hiring, we were looking for all that. So after, just to keep it short and quickly come to the experience part, there were 4 or 5 stores when we were launching, but there was just one store where you can say all the customer experience superstars were there. So the kind of experience they created was amazing. I mean, the whole training that I did with them focused on, one thing as my objective that I kept was to make them able to understand or make them able to at least empathize with whoever the customer is. So my focus was on empathy to solve problems. It doesn't need to be only business related, but it needs to be on a more human level. So at that one particular store, we had examples like there was this lady who came for shopping. This was a standalone shop that was there. So, once she was done with the shopping and everything, her car didn't start. So the staff over there, they knew some mechanic who had a shop nearby. So they called the mechanic and things like that. And there were so many stories, somebody who is not getting the dress that fits their size, they refer their personal contacts of tailors and things like that. So the kind of experience that was created in that outlet, we were amazed by customers who were bringing in donuts. They were bringing in all sort of treats for them. They were bringing cards for the staff members, and they were like inviting them that we would like to have lunch with you and things like that, because that was more sort of a personal connection that they were able to connect. And it was a very new brand, but mostly because of how the experience of the outlet was, it really kicked off, because that was something they were missing. Usually it's very sales oriented, where they offer discounts and things like that, and people just go and buy clothes. But over there, it was more about, I mean, even the team, maybe they don't know they were working as a consultant, but more on a human level. So that was something that always stood out for me, that I see as a major win for me whenever I worked on any assignment of customer experience.
Thank you, Adeel. Thank you very much indeed, and thank you for the stories. And welcome to the tribe. Okay.
I love to be here. I'm really impressed by how amazing you are at providing value. I mean, I've recently subscribed to your channel, YouTube channel as well. I've been binge watching with you, your videos too. So kudos to you. And I really look forward to connecting with every other tribe members here.
Good on you. Thank you very much indeed. Empathy, the human touch. I love that bit. Just one quick thing. You're next, Sandy, but I'll come to you in a minute. Just one simple thing. We ran a handmade tie silk business, and one thing that we found was that we actually used to take a video of the weaver making, if Sandy Murray was the customer, we would take a video of the weaver making Sandy Murray's fabric, whatever it is, maybe it's a wedding dress for your daughter, whatever it may have been, okay? And we would talk to you so you could see what's happening. It's about a 1-minute video, that's all. And we put it up on YouTube unlisted and sent the link to the customer while they were waiting for their thing to be created. Because, I mean, it takes time to do handmade stuff, right? We found that very simple thing, that personal touch, to be powerful in terms of the way that these people, they referred us to so many people, right? That was another example. Anyway, enough of that. Sandy Murray.
Okay, hello, good morning, everybody. Okay, let me tell you about this is just recently. I was got in touch with I'm going to call him a young gentleman. He's in his 40s, but I'm in my 70s. So, anyway, he had some mental health problems that I found out about. And I also found out that he had just lost his mom and that he was living with his dad and he was on his own, but he was not able to get a job. So I asked him about what he was passionate about, and I found out that he was an outstanding artist. I mean, he just very talented man. And on top of it, he had an inventory of paintings already. So I talked to him, we got him set up on Instagram, and we got him set up to have his own business on Instagram. And then, I just coached him. He called me literally every day, and I coached him along, and he got his first sale, and then he got his second sale, then he got his third sale. And so his business, just took off. It was, but more important is that this particular young fella really had not a lot of wins in his life. And the fact that I showed him that he was now an entrepreneur, he was even better off than his brother, who was going to work every day and had a boss and a customer leaning on him all the time. I said, Tom, you're able to run your business from your home, you're remote, you've got an iPad, you're doing it, and you are a successful entrepreneur. Anyway, the big tip that I gave him was, I said, okay, Tom, we need a business book about your artwork. So we created the business book for him, and essentially his business has just taken off. As far as, financially, he's not paying me anything, but I mentioned to him that I like Chivas. So he said he's gone out, he's bought a bottle of Chivas, and once this COVID is over and I can get down to see him, he's invited me down to break into that bottle of Chivas. Anyway, that's my story for today.
Okay. Thank you, Sandy. Well done, and enjoy the whiskey, mate. All right, Stephen. An example of customer service in a way that you may have surprised someone.
Well, customer service is something I guess it's in my blood. I've been in business since I was 14 years old, and even when I've worked in the corporate world, I've had that side hustle. So it's just something that you kind of do, and it was hard for me to find an example that would stand out, because I could speak to you, I guess, about just about any transaction that I make. So I went back. We're going to do a little bit of time travel. I went back to the late 80s, early 90s to find something that really made sense. And back then, there's a whole story that I won't get into, but back then I had purchased a modem, ostensibly for my kids to get online. I'd heard about these things called modems. I was involved with computers. And it was costing us $60 an hour. And that's back when $60 was a fair bit of money. $60 an hour to be online. There's a whole story in that too. You can ask me someday. And I said that, I could do this myself better than Quantum Link can do. So I started looking into what the options were, and I discovered this thing called a bulletin board, BBS, which is really like a little mini internet that you build yourself, run it on a computer, and people call in with their modems to connect to it. Now, I didn't know there were other bulletin boards in the area. I'd looked around and couldn't find any. It turns out there were 4, and that's a point in itself. But I started this bulletin board system, didn't know what I was doing, figured it out as I went along and got the thing going, and I got some clients coming online, some members. And in fact, I made my first e-commerce transaction in 1989. And that's fully 10 years before the term e-commerce was coined. And it just seemed to me that there was an issue, a problem with customers getting online, with clients getting online, because nobody knew how to use modems. People had computers. I was doing computer service at the time, and I would get people calling me up and saying, "Can you come over and show me how to work this thing? Where's the homework button?" And it just a lack of knowledge of what they were, because they were new. And to take a computer and extend it with a modem to connect to some other computer someplace, that was just not thought of. So what we did, number one, I got a person who would go out to people's homes to install and set up their modem at no charge, and just to go and do that. And these people could access the bulletin board for free. So we weren't making money on it. But the person went out to the house, spent half an hour with the person, physically installed the modem into the computer. It was a card slot thing. The external modems were awkward and very expensive. So we went with the internal modems. I got a local computer store actually an electronics store with a sideline of computers at the time, to buy in a stock of modems, and we referred all of the people there to get their modems. We carried one, with us available. If they didn't have one, we could sell them one, and we did that work and installed the software to run the modem, and that was great. And customers really appreciated that. But we went one step further. We commissioned what you would now call an app. It was a piece of software on a disk. You remember disks, 3.5-inch called floppy disks. Some people called them hard disks because they were in a hard shell. They weren't hard disks. But we commissioned this piece of software that you could just stick the disk in your computer and type a command, and it would run and install the software and configure your modem and get you connected to our bulletin board. And we duplicated those, put a label on them with the command on the label and our brand name on it, our bulletin board name, Ambassador Board. And we put those out around in stores at cash points. A little box, the kind of box that the discs came in with 10 discs in it. You took the cellophane off, and the little box would sit up. We copied the discs and distributed that, made it available for free so people could grab one and sign themselves up. We went from start to the area's #1 bulletin board system in 2 years, and I still didn't know who all the 4 boards were. By that time, I knew who 2 of them were, the other competitors. But we grew like that and had that response because we went the extra mile to deliver to our clients. And when Yvonne talked about sending a card, it's that kind of thing when you can reach out and put something into people's hands, even the teddy bear, that kind of a thing. You're putting something into people's hands. So when we put those discs into people's hands, something directly relating to what they were wanting to do, and they would see it in busy stores. We put them in video stores, another historical thing. We put them in electronic stores. We put them in shoe stores, ladies' clothing stores. Any store owner that would allow us to keep a box of those filled on their counter, and people were able to take them wherever they, pretty much wherever they went, coffee shops, things like that. So it took a little bit of thinking and a little bit of work on our part to deliver a little bit of extra service that led us to huge growth. And by the time the internet had taken over and put us out of business, and the internet was ubiquitous and everybody was on it, and they no longer needed to use a modem to dial up, so we were out of business. But the internet didn't offer more than we did. There was a community in what we did that was powerful. And I've tried to take that community concept on into my post-BBS work by doing the same thing, reaching out, sharing with clients, providing that personal extra bit of service. Don't have to do it. It's sometimes a nuisance. It costs a little bit sometimes, but boy, does it pay off.
Okay, thank you very much, Stephen. So really, what you did is you took a marketing tool like a bulletin board and using some simple technology, made it available to improve customer experiences and grow your business. That's what it amounts to, right?
Yep.
Is that correct? In an era when technology, was pretty not very well known. So you're in
exactly
in front of the curve.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, thank you, Steve. Good. Pat. Dryer, beg your pardon, Pat Dryer.
I had to turn my voice on.
See?
Hey, everybody, I'm Pat Dryer in Phoenix, Arizona. It is 6:42 a.m. out here. I know we're all over the world, all over the clock on this thing. So thanks for coming. Peter, thank you for putting this on. This is always so much fun. And as far as customer service goes, like Stephen said, I can go way back into the corporate world and come up with all kinds of ideas and things that we did to blow people away. But that was then and this is now. And we actually have a different type of business than we did back then, in that all of us are kind of working for ourselves now, and we're trying to figure out how to make money. But at the same time, we're finding that the best way to make money is to solve problems for other people by adding value, by showing them content, and Yvonne giving gifts to people and just blowing them away with different things that you can do for them. And once they find out that you really do care about them, they come to you in droves. And so one of the things that we always find out is that, and Peter, you're doing it even today by putting this on, you're providing value to all of us. You're providing value to all the people that are watching this, either now as it's on Facebook or even in replay. You're doing this for free. Mm-hmm. But everybody gets to see this. Everybody gets to learn from all these wonderful people that are on this right now. And so we're providing content, we're solving problems, And our kind of customer service is different, like I say, than the corporate world. And it's just a matter of connecting with people, offering them a free gift of somehow, whether it be a video, an online book, a PDF, some training, and then just connecting with them, trying to solve their problems. And what we find is by solving their problems, things come back to us in but tenfold, and makes it easy for all of us, doesn't it? But what we find is that as we go along doing this, and we're trying not to make money, we make more money than we want. Makes it easy.
Pat, thank you. Any questions for Pat? Short and sweet and to the point, Pat Dry, but right on the button. Thank you very much.
Thank you again, Peter.
My pleasure. I'm really happy to support all of you. Okay, I mean, it makes me feel good inside to help in any way I can. And I'm just thinking about what Stephen you shared, and Adeel what you shared in particular, and that is one of the keys I would imagine would be to leverage technology when it comes to customer service, but never ignore the personal touch. Okay, that to me is a message I think we should carry through. All right. Okay, Noleen, nice to see you join us. I mean, I can see a black screen there.
Oh, look, I've got a new phone and I don't know what's going on with the Zoom. Something wrong, and
don't worry, we can hear you.
Show. So I've had trouble with that this week.
Okay,
sorry,
I'll come back to you. I'll come back to you. All right.
Yep.
Bear with me. All right. Carol Davies. Good morning.
Good morning to you. It's really such a pleasure to be here listening to all the wonderful advice that our fellow colleagues here are giving, and some of the stories that have been shared, take me down memory lane. I was thinking, what on earth am I going to talk about to, add value or element of surprise? Because I'm doing more like one-on-one coaching or group coaching now, but I went back a little bit down memory lane, a little bit like Stephen did, because a few years back, I used to work as a librarian in the UN Library in Geneva, Switzerland. And there was one year when we initiated a new service. And it was right when computers were being introduced with the internet and that. And they came up with a concept called cyberspace. And it was a free online search service that people could come in and use at no charge if they were UN employees or retirees or whatever. So I was in charge of that. It was the first time, so we had to introduce it into the sort of the whole area, because the library served several huge departments that were located in Geneva. So I thought, oh, wow, what are we going to do? Because when we first opened, people didn't know what it was. So we had to start promoting it. And we found an unusual way. When we first opened up, we got a lot of retired employees were coming in because they had relocated and were living in Geneva. And, they were looking for something different to do in their time. And then they found out, here's this free service. And they learned that they'd be able to create an email account and keep in touch with their grandchildren. Some of them did, and some had research interests. So we started getting a steady stream of retirees coming in, which was not the primary audience we were thinking of at first. But they were so excited because what we did was they would sit down and stare at the computer screen and everything, and they'd look at the mouse and they'd say, if I move this, it's going to break the system. So we had complete newbies, as we call them now. So I and my staff would work one-on-one with them. And funnily enough, Hotmail was just in its infancy then. So we'd help them set up an email account on Hotmail. That was a really big thing. And then how to do simple searches on the internet to find things that they wanted. And then for some reason, they decided to offer free printing. Well, we were kept busy running to the big computer printers, filling up with paper because people would go out of there with practically wagon loads of paper. So they were all excited and they started telling people about it and, their colleagues in the departments that they'd left. So we started getting more people coming in, phone calls. So all of a sudden we were becoming really well known, and people had to start making appointments to use the machines. Now we had 25, so that was quite a few at that point to be free. And it just snowballed after that. And then the diplomatic community heard about it because we did training for them on how to find information. But then they were sending their staff to get trained, and then they were going back to their embassies and other things to show them how to use the computer and, you know, the internet. So it really became quite a success, not overnight, but because we took the time to sit and listen to the people who really were afraid to use computers. And it was a little bit like Stephen was saying, it was so new. And we got them into it and they were so happy. And I always remember that. It's that added thing of taking the interest in whoever it is. And these were not necessarily clients that were going to come and use the library services that much, but because they were so excited, our service demand just went up through the roof. And it was really exciting. I think back in that now because I think, oh, I take for granted everything I know about computers. But every time I used to help someone learn how to connect everything together and get forward and get something out of the internet and that, it just, they were so happy. And it would just, I just remember talking about it now, but it was so exciting for me to see, you know, the electronic world open up for them. And I still treasure that to this day.
Carol, I wish I knew you 15 years ago when I first started, because I had a huge battle trying to get organized with Hotmail. I didn't have a clue what was going on, right? So thank you, Carol. I appreciate your story, you know, and see where you're coming from. The more I listen to you people, and I really thank you so much for sharing, but these are the messages I'm getting. And tell me if I'm on the right track. One word messages in terms of customer service and experiences and surprises. You got to be consistent, right? If you do it, you got to do it consistently. You got to personalize it. You got to show, I mean, Adeel said, you got to show empathy, all right? You got to make it relevant and add value, as Pat said. You got to be always adding value to people, okay? You got to keep it simple, and you got to keep it friendly and easy understood. And you got to be polite, and you got to be enthusiastic. That's what I've got so far. And all those things to me would then create a memorable experience that people would have on a customer journey with you. That's my take so far, okay? All righty, so thanks so far for that. And yes, some people, Neha, okay, got to go, okay? Thank you very much, Neha. All right, Donna-Lea, over to you. And welcome again.
Yes, thank you. I'm so very pleased to be here with such a great group of people. I worked for one of the universities here in Ottawa as for the executive MBA program, which was a very small program at the time. And I was tasked to do business development, strategic recruitment for the program because we didn't have a lot of people in the program. Nobody really knew about it. And I was receiving a lot of calls from international professionals because at the time you had to be able to work in Canada full time. It wasn't like a regular program, like a bachelor's where you go in and you go into residence and stuff. So these were professionals who were leaving their country in order to come to Canada. And when I was speaking to them, it wasn't only, it became very clear at the very beginning that not only were they moving to another country, they had no idea about anything about the country. They knew about it on a map, they knew what they saw online, but they didn't know how to get a job. They didn't know where to live. They didn't know any of that stuff. So what I decided to do in order to facilitate that was I gave them as much information about our program and, that was needed. But on top of that, I also spoke to them about different areas where they could live. And I made sure that they felt free to give me to send me an email when they were looking in different neighborhoods. And I asked them some questions and I suggested like real estate agents or whatever. But I also found someone who works, it is part of a government organization, so there's no charge for this. And this is for professionals who are coming into Canada who don't know how to go about looking for a job. I mean, these are highly educated people. So I would connect with this person. I would connect them with this person in order to help them find a job. And I also would let them know that, again, just send me an email, if it's something personal, they would ask me about schools and about kids and about, that sort of thing. So it became more of a holistic approach. And just to give you an example, a bit of a different example, I had one gentleman who was in the Middle East. He wanted to come, and he would call me about once a year and say, I'm still in the middle of the business development that I'm doing over here, but I am going to come. And that was fine. So it ended up that he ended up back in Canada. He's from Canada, but he didn't do the program because he was building something else. And when he came, he was also looking for a job. And he said, I don't even have a clue how to start a resume. It's been so many years. And so I said, I'll meet you and I'll help you with that. So as we're going through it, one of the things that he said, which was really interesting, I mean, he's born in Canada. He's lived in Canada. He just happened to be in the Middle East to build some pretty interesting clinics. But anyway, so I sat down with him, and one of the very interesting things was he said, I have been told that I should not list all of my qualifications on my resume because people will not hire me because I'm overqualified. Now, this gentleman was building medical clinics in the Middle East, and, procurement, like everything to possibly build a business. And it was multi-billion-dollar for what he was doing in the Middle East. But anyway, and, he said, I've been told not to do this. And my reply to him was, I can help you build the resume, but if you walk into any job and they spend 15 minutes with you, they're going to know you're hiding something, because you are, absolutely brilliant man who'd done so many different things in his life. I said, it's going to be very clear that you know more than what, you're telling people. I said, so that becomes a bit of deceit, right? I said, I would put it out there, and then I would explain why, you're interested in the particular job. Anyway, so he did that for a while, and it just wasn't working. And he was also working on a radiopharmaceutical company, transport, which I think I've mentioned before, in the Middle East. So it ended up, we were also talking about that. And I actually started mentoring or coaching him on building the business. And it was very interesting, because we went from, him wanting to do the program to coming back to Canada, unable to do it because of what he was working on, and, helping him with a resume, and then actually consulting for this client who, with Radio Pharma. So all in all, it just became I actually, went and celebrated him and his son's birthday a couple of years ago. So it became more. And some of the people that have come in, actually, I was speaking to one of them yesterday. He came in from Saudi Arabia, highly educated, and he's still having a hard time finding work. And it boggles my mind as to, part of it has to do with the clearance in Canada. It has to be 5 years that you're in Canada. He's only been 4.5. So I've actually reached out to someone I know who's a recruiter and connected them as well. So, it becomes a full circle for me in order to ensure that, these candidates were taken care of. I ended up coaching, and I still do a lot of them. I'm working with one of them on a partnership. So, by giving more than what was expected, I have been given back in so many different ways. And like I said, a lot of these people, one of the candidates, I keep in touch with them with how they're doing. And one of the candidates ended up saying, why don't we go out for coffee? So we were talking about our personal lives. And then she was talking about this company that they have in Nigeria, and they were having a problem. I said, well, out of curiosity, what is it? So she told me, and I said, well, have you thought about this? And she said, no, I haven't. So they actually implemented that. It was like an hour coffee. So sometimes it's just a conversation. It's in giving, you certainly give back.
Donna, you mentioned full circle. I mean, obviously, in some of these dealings with people, there's a huge time commitment you've given there with these people, right?
Yeah.
To give them what they want and to exceed their expectations more than they expected from you, right? How did it make you feel?
It feels great. You know, yesterday, the conversation with that one gentleman who, you know, he's consulting, but of course, you know, he's consulting internationally and things have slowed down where he's consulting. So, you know, he's dealing with that. I mean, he's got a very young family. And I just, for me, it was, you know, let's see what we can do to help. I mean, it's not necessarily that I'm going to be able to help him find a job through the recruiter, but at least there's, you know, myself and the recruiter who's looking as well.
Yeah, but the thing that's standing out for me, Donna, is the fact that it's all about their perception of you, right?
Yes.
And that is critical because you just never know where he will go in the future, but his perception of you can only be a positive. And that to me is pretty special. Well done, Donna. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Well done. Okay. Anna Robson.
Good morning, everybody. Good to see everybody. So as usual, I made some notes. So if you think I'm reading, that's because I'm just making sure I'm on track. And I wanted to start by saying that for me, customer experience starts before we start talking with a prospect. And for me, that includes such an understanding that a prospect is not necessarily going to be my client. I'm not looking for everybody I meet to become a client, nor do I start relationships or conversations with people with a transactional mindset. I really believe that at first we need to see if there is anything for us to talk about, then there is a conversation about fit. But a customer's relationship with me starts long before they meet me. It starts before they often even visit my social pages or the website. It could be how somebody talks about me. It could be how they heard me present myself or talk about what I talk about elsewhere and how I treat people, right? So people notice those little things. So for me, a relationship with a customer or potential client customer, it starts long before they even reach out to me, right? For me, I also have a boundary. I am not prone to giving things necessarily ahead of time, but I am very much willing to always listen to the person and see if I can direct them elsewhere if I can't help them. So I usually will have a conversation with people, even if they're not in my target market, because I know that I can probably at least direct them elsewhere. You know, especially, you know, being in business for a long time, I have enough connections that I usually can at least make a considerable or considerate referral to somebody else. So for me, I approach each new connection as an opportunity to talk to somebody, but I don't look for anything other than fit in terms of can I even speak with the person comfortably. Not everybody's my person, and I'm not everybody's person, right? I am a handful and a mindful, so I am very conscious of that. So and then the next thing that's important to me is the customer care aspect of this. So for example, even if I have people I know that are not clients, not going to be clients likely, again, as I said, I never look at it as a transactionally ahead of time. So what I do is I spend time with most of my connections. I don't like having connections that sit. So I'll stay in touch with people. For example, Neha and I have had a Zoom yesterday. I learned a little bit more about her interests. So I keep in mind what I hear. And if I ever come across something that I think would be interesting, I keep the relationship alive by, for example, hey, Neha, I found this article. Hey, Neha, I remembered you said you have a big project that you're working on. I hope it went well. right? So that's the kind of conversations I like to have, so that I don't focus again on the transactional. Anna does not like transactional, as much as I'm very comfortable with expressing my value and the investment my clients will have in me. And so that comes to what I actually have as an example of a client experience. So I have clients all around the world, and I usually work with executives and decision makers. So, one of the services I offer is if you have an emergency, if you're really freaking out about something, or something has happened and you don't know how to handle something, a conversation you don't know how to handle, I allow the option of connect with me, ask me a question, and I'll get back to you as soon as I received a request to communicate, right? And one of those examples would be, I had a few years ago a client that was a startup, and one day I received on my phone a frenzied text message that my client is requesting an emergency phone call. Something has happened. Now, this is a startup, so I was thinking, oh my goodness, what kind of an emergency you're having, right? You haven't even fully launched your business, so getting worried here, so I called her. And apparently, a fellow coach consultant here in Ottawa, knowing that she's my client, connected with her and told her that she's not where she should be with her business, that she should fire me and hire her because she has an excellent business building system and she's the best at networking and she has the best networking group, all of those things, right? So, and then she said, oh, I hope you're not angry. I said, why would I be angry? Well, is this person did this? I said, I'm not angry with this person. I mean, I would never respect this person, but I'm not about to tell you that I hate this person or anything like this. Let's talk about how you're feeling. And she said, oh, I was so afraid that, to tell you this, but I felt I have to tell you this, and I was really apprehensive. I said, no, if you ever have questions about how you're doing things, I am here to talk to you about how you want to proceed further, if you want to reassess. And she said, no, I'm so happy with you, but I just didn't know how to handle this. And I said, in business, this kind of ridiculous situations happen. People sometimes have no boundaries, no respect for others. It's about how we handle it with grace. Can't be angry with anybody who is trying to subvert us or treat us badly or malign us, right? So we focus on what needs to be handled. Are you okay? And she said, I can't believe this is the first thing you're asking. Instead of being upset about your business and how people talk about you, right? So this is all to say that being available to talk to my client in a way that never betrays my ethics and shows that what is my truth, which is you've come first. Are you okay? Are you in a good space? If not, do you want to talk about it? Are you not comfortable to talk with me? Not a problem. I can have somebody else that you can talk about something distressing with you, right? So, and a lot of my clients always tell me this, and I'm still trying to accept this, that I'm very good at talking people off a cliff. Things are not this bad, because once you get into your headspace and you freak out, all the scenarios come to your head, and usually they grow in severity until you think there's a ginormous issue that you need to handle. So being there for my client is first, is how I consider it to be good customer care. And then even years after, I still am often available for my clients. Connect with me if you have questions. Don't alienate yourself feeling that, oh, we've terminated our contractual transactional relationship and now we're done. I used you up, you used me for knowledge, goodbye. So continue the relationship, even without any plans on, them becoming a client again. Don't look at clients transactionally. Don't connect with people with the idea to sell them. Connect with them from a place of, let's see if we even have anything to talk about first before we sit down and sell to each other. So that would be, I hope this was very logical, because I tried to create a little logical timeline of customer experience and care to share a little bit from each stage, if you will, of the relationship with the client.
Anna, thank you. I mean, you really did focus on customer care, and that's really what it's all about. If you get customer care right, then the experience takes care of itself. And I love the idea of being non-transactional. I think that's pretty darn important. Very important indeed. Now, thank you very much, Anna. Any questions for Anna? Okay, yeah, I agree with you, Patrick. Just sent a message. Great job. Yeah, great job, Anna. Desi Perez, I just want to say welcome. Hello. It's midnight. It's midnight for her in Australia. I'm not going to embarrass her, but I'm going to say this. She hates being on video. So this is a big thing for Desi Perez. And I am delighted you joined us. And I'll let you know that she's a very successful network marketer. I am proud of what she's done. I've had nothing to do with it, by the way. I'm just a mate of hers, right? But I'm proud of your success and your progress, Desi, and I wish you all the very best. And thank you for joining us.
Thanks so much, Peter.
All right. Do you want to say anything about customer service, or you prefer just to listen today?
I'll say something. So I'm in a forex trading business. I joined 10 months ago, and previously in other businesses, I'd be lucky if I would get like a handful of people to join. And now I've got over 650 in my team. So yeah, it's crazy. It's just it's the easiest thing I found to share. And I've got people following me, and the thing that happened this week, this lady from Sweden, actually, she's a single mum. She's been dying to get started, trying to save up. Yeah, things are pretty hard over there, and she keeps, for 5 months, she's been asking me questions and following me. And this week she said to me, oh, I wish I could get started with $100, because 300 is the minimum. And I said to her, look, I know how much you've been dying to get started. So what if you just send me the $100 and I'll top up the rest for you, and you can get started, and I'll manage your account. And when you get the rest of your profits, I'll take the 200, and then you can have the account and manage it on your own. And she was so grateful. So I've done a few things like that, especially to Nigeria, because Nigerians, they're not very well off. So I've helped a lot of people get started in the business. And yeah, I have so many grateful people.
Got a good heart, Desi, but be careful. You could get taken to the cleaners doing that too often.
See, because I've got control of their accounts,
okay.
I benefit anyway. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for sharing, and thank you again for joining. I am proud that you did that. All right.
Yeah.
And by the way, before you're next, and you're the last one, Patrick, captain of the Enterprise, right? I'll come back to you in a minute. But before we do that, earlier, Yvonne Jones mentioned the point about thank you, these two words being powerful, and it triggered something I meant to say this too. Another aspect of our little Thai silk business, because this business taught me how to sell online, to be quite frank with you, right? Because before that, we're just selling silk around the villages, right? And what we used to do, because it's handmade silk, there was always offcuts, I think that's the right word, offcuts of silk, all right? And rather than waste them, we used to make little doilies out of them. And so if Donna-Lea Bowman was a customer, a client of ours, then we'd get the cut off, some of the cut off of the silk that we didn't use for the fabric we're making for you, whatever it may be. And we used to embroider onto it. Thank you, Donna, for helping our Thai village. All right. That's all, and with our little logo on the bottom. And we had one of the ladies who could do that really easily, okay, when she had a skill of embroidering, etc. It was all handmade. And that did wonders in terms of, one, customer service, but two, in terms, again, of advocacy, because those people used to, these were the early days of social media, and we got a huge boost from our customers, right, in those days, from doing simple little thank you things. So there you go. All right. Patrick, I know you're not captain of the Enterprise, mate. I was just giving you a boost, right?
Hey, good morning, everybody.
There you go.
I wasn't the captain of the Enterprise. Let's make that clear.
I know. It's just.
I know. I'm just messing with you. Hey, Stephen had to go back in time. I think a few others had to go back in time with customer service. So I had to go way back in time when I was a young lad about customer service. I learned from the best person in the whole entire world about customer service. That was my dad. My dad was, God, he was good. He worked at a automotive place, Wolf Supply Company in Vancouver, Washington. He started out as a janitor, became a salesperson, and when as kids go into the store, I would sit there and watch my dad sell people on the parts they needed. Then all of a sudden, he would tune it. He would sell them something else they didn't even need. The man was good. He was very good at selling and customer service. But one thing he told us kids when me and my little brother started to sell cattails to the neighborhood: respect your client, or respect your people. Be nice to them. Be yourself. Don't be a phony. Just come up to them and just be a genuine person. And I've done that for a long time, all my life. And now, I can talk to somebody person to person. I have no problem in it. But now when it's come to this new age of marketing, you got to do it online. And that's where I think I'm getting better at it, because I had to think back, just be yourself. This one gentleman here on this group, he always tells me, be yourself, be yourself. He said, you got it. I went, okay. And it's getting better. And people are coming online and we chat. And I've been telling my live stories here about my Navy days, about the Enterprise. And I joined this one Facebook group called USS Enterprise. And what he recommended me to do is put my stories on the group. And I did. He said, by the way, check them out. So just before I came on this morning, I checked them out. I had 10 people that hit on them. And they put likes. I went, cool. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to message each one of them and, ask them about their stories, just to build that relationship up. So customer service, no matter what you do, you just got to just be yourself. Don't be a phony person. What you see in me, what you're going to get. I might sometimes use colorful language, but I try to stop it. But now everybody had a, what do you call it, Stephen? A side gig. I had a lot of side gigs, believe me. Some side gigs you didn't even want to know about. They were good ones, but it leads up to what I'm doing now. After those other side gigs, what I'm doing now, they kind of go hand in hand. One's a different part, the other one's the other part of the thing. and I was very good at it. I was damn good at it. They're the song by Jimmy Buffett. Let's see how it goes. God, I forgot how it goes now. I made so much money I could have bought Miami. So that's part of the quote in that song. It was pretty cool. And I think about that. I went, okay, yeah, I could have, but I didn't. But that's my thoughts and on customer service. Just be yourself. Just be genuine in life. And I think we all will make it. We all will do a good job. And I'm learning this more and more on this new fantastic technology we have. Thank you, Peter.
Thank you, Pat. I mean, I think that you raised a very important point. The more respect we show to people, the more you are yourself and you're authentic, the more people can resonate with you. Whether they become a customer or not is beside the point. The fact is your integrity is in place, your reputation is in place, and your business potential goes up anyway. You can't lose by doing that. You really can't lose. So well done. And I think I want to say thank you to all of you for your contributions today. I mean, to me, I think we should all stop and just spend a few moments thinking about the journey. Forget the word prospect. Forget about the word customer. Just think people, all right? Think about the journey that a person will have with you and how can you improve it. And if you can think about that, then you're well on the way to giving yourself a far better chance of improving the customer experiences you have. That's my final thoughts for you. Please, everybody here who has contributed, if you get the chance, go into our group. In the comments under the replay, put the link to whatever business you want because you've earned the right. You really have earned the right today. Put a link to your business so people can come and check you out. I will be uploading this video tomorrow afternoon. It's too late for me now, right? I'll be uploading this video to YouTube and putting your Facebook links in there as well. I'll be sending this out to my email list and sending each one of you a link to the YouTube video as well. So anyone want anything else to say? Any final comments from anybody?
Great call. Thank you.
Anna.
Yeah, I just wanted to say quickly, and something I don't hear enough, and I don't know, I think a lot of business owners don't think about it, but there is a very lovely profession called user experience designers. They specialize not just in technology and website experience. They are very experienced in creating a map, an experience map.
All right.
So one of the things I recommend is, especially since in 2021, we have so many new ways of doing things. Sometimes engaging somebody, a professional like this, that can consult with you on how to create the best customer experience with you, so that you know your customer experience journey, where it starts exactly, how long it will last, in what way, which direction, the actual map, like a GPS, right? So obviously I'm not selling myself because that's not the service I offer. I offer a service of recommending a special type of specialist, because customer experience is not just a transaction and what leads to a transaction for them to buy. There is a lot of nuances, the human part of it, that we are not used to thinking about in business. And I highly recommend, if you have a business that you're trying to grow, if you don't know where's the gap, you hire people like Peter Beckenham, for example, for marketing and sales, right? But there's also the other side of the actual journey that you might want to engage as well, a user experience specialist. And remember, they don't just do website development and that part of customer experience. There's all kinds of user experience specialists that might help you figure out how to create that client journey, so you know how to even start messaging your prospects better, right? We're all trying to grow a business. If you know your client journey, it will help you target your messaging better as well. So it all kind of flows into each other, and it all matters. So sorry I'm taking extra time, but I think it's just an important little nuance we often don't think about.
No, Anna, that's important. I mean, especially the impact on messaging. Very, very true. Very true. And in this day and age of social media, messaging is probably one of the most powerful parts of your marketing. There's no doubt about that, right? Apart from other things. So thank you. I mean, to me, it's all about moving away from being the best kept secret to providing people with a journey with you that is so darn memorable they want to talk to everybody else. That's in simple terms what you should all be trying to do. And if you can do that, you'll enjoy it more, for goodness sake. You'll have more fun and you'll get more customers.
Yes.
That's my gut feel, all right?
Well, I think the statistics is also on your side as well.
Yeah, well, you know me, I keep things nice and simple. I don't like to complicate things very much. I'm too old for that rubbish. Anyway, thank you, everybody, very much indeed for your contribution. And I'll talk to you again next week, okay?
Have a great week.
Thanks.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Peter.
Bye-bye.